My name is Monica Truelsch. I'm with GT Nexus as a Director of Solutions Marketing. My particular focus is on our network transportation management solution. I think companies have reached some of the limitations of the early designs of transportation management software, particularly the early adopters, the international global supply chain firms that are working with ERP systems that have extensive transportation management suites. We're hearing in the marketplace from many of these companies who are also existing customers of GT Nexus that the traditional TMS has not provided the global visibility to their transportation operations, to their supply chain that they were hoping for. That there's a great deal of focus on domestic or regional specific transportation issues, but not enough connection back to the operational visibility and financial visibility that these widely distributed, very sophisticated international firms require in order to adapt and respond quickly in market fluctuations. So I think the market is ripe for a new approach to transportation management today. GT Nexus, I was very excited to join them when I heard what the vision was for transportation management. So coming from the very network-centric, collaborative community model that has made GT Nexus successful and that distinguishes it from many other supply chain technology players in the marketplace, they have put very conscious effort into building on that network and community and collaboration approach to extend the benefit of that type of technology community to the broader transportation management challenge, if you will. So GT Nexus is well known for ocean and air competency. 95% of the ocean carriers around the world are already connected to the GT Nexus community. Air cargo, also a critical part of the international supply chains that they service, but they are now building out extensive connections to surface transportation, to trucking and to rail in both Europe and in North America. And they're bringing in the sort of missing component of surface or ground transportation from landed port to DCs, to warehouses, to final destination, to manufacturing centers and so forth, that allows us to do a real and true end-to-end supply chain visibility solution. My personal feeling has been that you can't really have complete supply chain visibility without integrating the transportation component. Transportation is the power that makes supply chains work. It connects every node in your supply chain. It's a very fragmented service provider network in many cases, however. But you can't have your product information disappear into a black hole when your container is loaded on a truck, or when your product leaves a deconsolidation point and it becomes pallet loads going on an LTL, or it leaves the DC and goes into parcel and LTL and truckload as well. You need to be able to continue visibility to your product in a near real-time fashion. Not only to provide the track and trace, the visibility that the marketplace has come to expect in an Amazon world where "where's my stuff" is possible anytime you log in, track your shipment. But there's a financial element to freight cost that is being lost in this traditional segregation of transportation into, well, that's just the freight transport cost. It's a necessary thing that gets our stuff to market. Freight can be a significant indirect spend in many companies. In fact, it's probably one of the largest after the cost of goods to begin with. It's extraordinarily difficult to allocate many of those landed transportation costs in any kind of accurate fashion to lines of business or to specific products. The traditional way of managing transportation has isolated your order details, your item and product level SKUs from the transportation plans and transportation orders, which is one of the reasons for a disconnect or a loss of visibility when third-party providers, either a carrier or a 3PL, takes over ownership of or chain of custody of your goods. The GT Nexus approach is really leapfrogging traditional siloed mentalities about segregating transportation as something that happens off to the side and integrating that type of information and the processes and the service providers, your partners in the supply chain aspect, and the supply chain function, into what we're referring to as our network transportation management solution. The GT Nexus approach really is built not necessarily on displacing existing TMS providers and technology in the marketplace, but it's on bringing them into a transportation information management platform, which is integral to the supply chain visibility. That's also part of the solution set that we bring to market. I'm excited about the potential that this very different approach to transportation management has for supply chains around the world, not only in North America, but in Europe as well too. Transportation, by its nature, tends to have a local execution component where you've got to really tailor pickup and delivery windows to the locations that you're servicing. You need to understand traffic patterns. You need to know local protocols. This loading dock requires a lift gate on vehicles. This particular yard won't accept 53-foot trailers. We have to send a 48-foot one. This company has very stringent FDA rules and requirements. You have to have hazmat training, or drivers aren't permitted to have facial hair because it's a high purity food environment or pharmacological environment. The transportation localization can remain. You can continue to use the transportation management technology you've already invested in. You can continue to make use of the TMSs that your 3PLs are using. You can continue to make direct use of the carriers that you're using currently. What we offer is essentially a channel for all of that transportation information communication to follow your orders and your product and SKU level detail throughout the life cycle of those goods into the customer's hands, that allows you to track the freight cost, that allows you to track location status of the delivery, that allows you to respond in an agile fashion if you need to expedite a portion of a shipment. You can do surgical expediting if you know that on this particular shipment you've got a pallet of this product, that product, these SKUs, those SKUs. We only need to expedite one because of a critical out of stock at a customer in Baltimore or Tennessee. Before, that type of visibility was something you had to spend a day and a half, a couple of days perhaps, to dig into and identify. If you have that information at your fingertips, your ability to address the customer experience of doing business with your firm, of fulfillment, of awareness to delivery, of potential delays in delivery so they can accommodate that, it's unparalleled in what your competitors can do at this point.